Hi class, and welcome to Introduction to Healthcare Delivery Systems. In this video, I will briefly be providing an overview of this specific module, which actually combines weeks 1 and 2 of this course. You will be finding a similar video to this one in each module. And remember, each module usually represents a week. It's just this module, which combines 2 weeks in one, and the last module for this course will be the same thing. All right, so let's get started. The video you're watching now will be positioned here, and then first on the first content page here, one of the first things we have listed are the objectives for the week, and then the assignments that are due. So there are a number of assignments that are due this week. First is your syllabus quiz. Make sure to review your syllabus before completing the quiz. You do have an unlimited amount of attempts for this quiz, and it is mandatory for you to complete it. Then you have your discussion board post, your first one, which is your icebreaker post. And this is where you'll be introducing yourself to the rest of the class. Other than writing a written introduction to the class, you will also be completing something called the flip grid. So right now I'm just going to jump over here and show you this is what the flip grid looks like. You will find instructions for it in the discussion board forum, and you'll find the link where you'll be going, and it's a very short video you'll be recording. I know some of you may be a little hesitant about doing a recording, but it really helps all of us become a little more familiar with each other, and it definitely puts a voice and a face to the name in our virtual classroom. The video is short. It could be 30 seconds. It could be 1 minute and 30 seconds. I think I give everybody about 2 minutes to complete it and provide responses to your fellow classmates. I really like the Flipgrid tool because it really helps us share with one another, and I hope to be able to use it maybe for another assignment throughout the semester. All right, so now I'm going to go back to the module we were at. Here we are again. And I want to continue with the assignments that are due. So we have another discussion board assignment, which is actually on the LearnScapes learning tool. Remember, that's the virtual scenario learning tool that was required along with your textbook for this course. You will be viewing the first scenario. Do not submit any answers through the actual LearnScapes website. I just want you to view it, make notes, put together your recommendation, and you will be posting that in the discussion board forum dedicated for this assignment. You are also responsible for completing responding to 2 of your fellow classmates' posts. Now, I also want you to choose your global or national health topic. You will be putting together an outline, writing up a paper, and as well and creating a video presentation. So make sure it's a topic that you enjoy, that sparks your interest. For those of you that are interested in global health topics, I always suggest for my students to go to a website known as Global Health Now, and I'm going to jump there right now. Here we are. It's actually created by the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. They cover the hot global topics. You'll find topics impacting the U.S., so kind of like national health topics, and you'll also find global health topics. Definitely check it out if you need some ideas for this project. And you also have the first quiz. The quiz covers chapters 1 through 4. This is the only module where you will be assigned 4 chapters. I know it seems like a lot, and the rest of the modules, there'll be 1 to 2 chapters in each one. And last is just a reminder that your global health outline will be due later on in the semester. Now, underneath the list of assignments are the readings. So here we have chapters 1 through 4, and below the assigned readings, you have the video lectures. I strongly suggest for you all to go through the video lectures. I really did my best to keep them short, but I do know some of them are a bit long since there was a lot being covered in the chapter. And then last but not least, you'll always find on the first content page a weekly checklist. So here we are, just a reminder for you to complete everything that was assigned for this week. Now, again, this module covers weeks 1 and 2. So when you continue on from this module, you'll be going to week 3. All right, now the second content page for each module provides you with the chapter PowerPoints for the assigned readings, files on the terms for each chapter, and then some information from the chapter. Now, I'm not going to go deeply into the information from the chapter since you do have your video lectures. It'll just make this intro video very long and a bit redundant since these topics are covered in another video. But definitely read through them. Here are the files for you to download. And let me scroll a little further down. So here we have for chapter 1, the quad function model. So just the basic healthcare delivery functions. Below that is the external forces affecting healthcare delivery. And then below that is some information on, or I guess a list of the main characteristics of the U.S. healthcare system. And then here's just a little section still from chapter 1 on healthcare systems in other countries. So here we're going over the NHI, NHS, and SHI, which are the National Health Insurance, National Health System, and the Socialized Health Insurance. And these are used in different countries found around the world. And then here are some global health challenges. Same thing under that. And then we jump to chapter 2. Now, the chapter 2 focuses more on public health, beliefs, values regarding our healthcare system here in the U.S. And being that public health is my background, it's kind of like my favorite topic. So I went into a little more detail just to make sure that you guys have an idea of the core functions or core disciplines of public health. Created this little table here. I don't want to make you dizzy. And then below that, you'll find the epidemiology triangle, where you have your host, environment, and agent. And this is the model that scientists have developed when studying health problems. And the aim is to help us understand infectious diseases and how they're spread. And then there's a section on primary, secondary, and tertiary prevention. So in this table right here, you'll see that an example of different diseases, intervention level being on the individual level or the population level, and then the different levels of prevention. Here are examples of primary prevention. Next to that is a column on secondary prevention, and third on tertiary prevention. All right, so now I'm going to scroll a little further down to the force field and well-being paradigms of health. So this is the Bloom's force field and well-being paradigm, and the idea is it defines kind of the major determinants of health when we're looking at one's health and well-being. These are the different factors that impact a community's, health outcomes, an individual's health overall. And in this specific diagram, the focus is on healthcare, genetics, environment, behavior, and lifestyle. All right, I'm going to scroll further down. Here's some information on health protection and environmental health, health protection during global pandemics, And then we go into consequences for the healthcare delivery system. Now, the third chapter, chapter 3, we have some information here. The first little section here is the development of science and technology. And these 5 main factors really explain why the medical profession remained largely an insignificant trade in pre-industrial America, and kind of how it evolved into what it is today. And then below that really focuses on transformation. So we're looking at urbanization, science and technology, institutionalization of medical care, dependency, where patients became more dependent on the judgment and assistance of medical professionals, and then the autonomy and organization of physicians here in the U.S., licensing, and ultimately educational reform. And then below that is the rise of private health insurance. I just briefly go over it here, and it is also addressed in the video lecture for this chapter. All right, then below that we have some information from chapter 4. The first section here focuses on the differences between an MD and a DO. This includes similarities and primary differences. I'm going to continue scrolling further down. Then we have the difference between primary care and specialty care. And last, we have the global trends in healthcare professionals. Now, the third page that you'll find in each module are the videos for the week. So I've tried to find videos that highlight and go along with the topics covered in the assigned readings. So for chapter 1, we have the first video here by T.R. Reid talking about healthcare systems around the world. It is a little older, the video, but it touches on the same topic and really not much has changed. But just to kind of quickly touch on that. And then below that is a video on China's healthcare system. And then below that, the last video for chapter 1 is healthcare between countries. Now, for chapter 2, the first video is titled Global Disease Detectives. And this is actually a video that was produced by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And it highlights the importance of maintaining surveillance indicators to prevent the spread of infectious diseases. It focuses on densely populated urban slums, where a lot of times sanitation may be suboptimal and emerging diseases could spread pretty quickly from person to person. Then we have a video on what public health is all about. Now, the third video listed here is actually by Dr. Claire Pomeroy, and it's actually a great TED Talk. And she focuses on the determinants of health and how they're major factors that affect our health over time. They affect the health and well-being of individuals and populations. Definitely try to take the time to view this video. It's really a good one. And then the last 2 videos for chapter 2. The first one focuses on determinants of health, looking at Healthy People 2020. And then below that is a video that focuses on, kind of gives you an overview of the Healthy People 2020 initiative. Now for chapter 3. So here, the first video provides a brief overview of the history of health insurance in the U.S. The second video, same thing, provides a little history on the U.S. healthcare system and a timeline on how we got to where we are today. And then the last video for chapter 3 just explains health insurance, and it kind of breaks down the important insurance concepts such as premiums, deductibles, and provider networks and such. And then for chapter 4, there's only one video, and it's on the primary care physician shortage. Now, the next when you press or when you click on the next button that's found on the left hand, the bottom right hand side of your screen, you will be taken to the discussion board assignment forum for the icebreaker assignment. And then the rest of the links found in the module are all the assignment links, meaning everything assigned for this week. You will find the link in this module. Another reminder that this module, it was 2 weeks combined in one. The rest of the modules are week by week. So when you go to the second module found in this course, it will be titled as week 3. Remember, the weekly course schedule coincides with the modules. So you could always look at the weekly course schedule as kind of like a blueprint, a layout for the course on when assignments are due. And you are more than welcome to contact me if you have any questions, concerns. I'm here to help. Remember, you can email me, course message me, and you can definitely text me on the number found on the syllabus. I look forward to having a great semester with you all. And take care, everyone. Bye.